what are some of the means and methods that the BGLC are going to be requiring of lounges to actually enact these guidelines? Are they going to be coming in, conducting audits? Are the lounges or gaming lounges going to be required to send over documents? So what are some of the things that we're going to be required to do to show that we're adhering to the guidelines?
Thank you. Very good question. I mean, the approach is not to be too intrusive in terms of us coming and monitoring what you do. I mean, that's why we're here. We expect you to be part of the process that we're hoping to have implemented. So it's not a case where we'll be out there watching every advert that comes out. But where it becomes glaring that there's a breach of those guidelines, we'd want to actually take that up with you. But it's one where we'd expect to be to a lot extent self-regulated, and you involve in the whole process yourself. And when we actually come across breaches, that we will actually then highlight that and work with you.
Problem with the way that it is invading our space, and no matter how you try to coach it and say, oh, you're going to do it in a way that it won't appeal to children, and so as long as it's in your face. If it was for me alone, it wouldn't be advertised at all, full stop.
Insofar as advertisement is concerned, we would also like to see examples of local advertisement that we believe is problematic, because a lot of what we do in terms of advertisement actually gets approved by the regulator before it goes out. So we would want to see specific examples of what could be problematic, with a view to see how we could obviously help to address it in a meaningful way.
We want to know what the problems are with the advertising locally, because that's how we tackle them. And if we can identify those, then we can start to help in terms of determining what we approve as commercials and what we talk to advertising agencies about, and saying you need to avoid this and you need to adjust for that. If we can see those things, I think that we can collaborate in an approach that would be far more effective in making this significant step, which I agree we must take.
I'm not so sure, and the evidence is there, that an average Jamaican understands gambling addiction. It's real.
You put out the rules point blank, clear in the lounges outside for persons to see it. You basically repeat it to the persons, and they're still having the issue in being addicted to it.
Is there anything in place where the operators of these lounges can refer persons to be excluded? And how would they go about this now, and what is in place?
What we have is called voluntary self-exclusion. So the person has to fill out a statement of intent to get a ban, comes to RISE, we process it, we talk with them, and they get put on the list. A family member or an operator, that ban that the operator can give to that customer is what we call an involuntary self-exclusion. So that's between the operator, and if the operator think that this guy is a troublemaker in the facility and don't want them there, that's fine. That has nothing to do with the ban that we do. The ban that we do is more therapeutic and rehabilitative than the operator just saying, I don't need you here. And operators do that. The self-exclusion ban that we do is on a system that is island-wide. And so all the gaming lounges have access to persons who have been banned. And those persons also have to and have the option of getting counseling and other treatment.
A lot of people have not been aware that there is treatment for gambling addiction in the same way that there our treatment programs for alcoholism and any other kind of risky behavior that can produce the outcome of addiction. It's about a way of life that some people adopt in an economy that is not yet ready to sustain the kind of employment that pays well, and therefore leaves its people to look for enhancement in a risky kind of way.
I think a comment for communications like must clearly indicate that it is recognized that gaming addiction is real would be a wonderful inclusion in these communications for gaming.
Our children are heavily involved in this. They are purchasing at different spaces and places. Nobody's prosecuted. Absolutely nobody's prosecuted. The data showed they are involved. Can we now get to the point where our children understand that this is not for them, that individuals who are involved in this sector understand and demonstrate leadership and responsibility by indicating to our children that they are not to be a part of this.
It is a fact. Our young people in our schools are in problems. There's a lot of gambling that takes place. We get calls on average maybe twice per week to go into a particular school for an intervention.
We want the communication message to be as clearly articulated as possible to indicate to our children. We want it to be more robust in our schools, because at the end of the day, if we can get our children informed at that age in making the correct choices, then we will see less of the gambling addictions that we find in our society now.
To what extent we agree with the proposal to introduce new rules requiring content include clear messages about age and responsible gambling. So one response, clear messages about age and responsible gambling information would be a means of mitigating the negative effects of gambling through proper education.
We also support the call for greater public education. I think everybody here collectively can agree with that. And SVL remains committed to supporting that call, and whatever we can do to support the BGLC and Rise Life, as we always do, we will support that.
I think that probably the single largest impact that you can have is going to be through public education. There is a robust public education campaign that is required in what it is that we need to do if we are going to have the kind of impact that we want.